6:20 now on Friday evening. This is still Oxford Street, it's still blocked as you can see, although I went away and did some looking around the other areas, and in the meantime of course they cleared the boat away, so that obviously meant that they got all the protesters, the main protesters were bolted to the bottom of that boat, so they must have unbolted them somehow. That was the purpose of that double ring that they had around the site. They've obviously achieved that, but what they haven't achieved is to clear Oxford Circus, because there's still a lot of protesters there. So, turns out what's happened is, the reason why the pink boat is there, shackled to a police van and not going anywhere with hundreds of police all around it, is because those cunning devils at Extinction Rebellion went around the other side when they got wind of what was happening, went up the road and they've kettled them. They've got protest on this street, not a very big one, but enough to stop the car going through, and I suspect they've got a protest at the other end, which I'll go and have a look at in a minute. It's all, as I say, all still very peaceful. Police are looking slightly irritated now. I think the police are being quite entertained actually, they're smiling. Earlier on the BBC said police aren't stopping protesters getting anywhere near Oxford Circus, which that's just not true. I think that's the first time in my 50 years that I've heard something on the BBC that I actually know to be a lie, which is disappointing. And I suspect it was because they were trying to stop people turning up. This was about 3 o'clock this afternoon. It just wasn't true. Shoppers were walking past Oxford Street, going shopping. Thousands of them. In fact, that was the main part of the problem at Oxford Circus. That's why it was so busy, because there was thousands of shoppers. There was several hundred Extinction Rebellion, and then the world was trying to get by, and successfully, more or less, with a little bit of a barge and a push. But cars not. So they've just...
blocks the port coming through, but
oh, okay.
I don't think it's going to work, because literally you can run further out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's so many roads in London. You think the police would have worked that out? They do work here. They're doing their best, I suppose. But all right, thank you. They're sort of doing a large-scale version of the 2 circles they did earlier on around the Oxford Circus place. They've blocked off this sort of area, and then somehow arrest people sufficiently to block off that area. In fact, they're moving the van now with the boat on. So yeah, here they come. They're not going to get through here because the police have got here. So that has worked, because they're not going to get round there. That's for certain. Hope you're feeling fit. Off they go. All these youngsters, they know how to run, don't they? Goodness me. So they're off to block the next junction. Try and oh, I haven't had so much fun since 1987. If I was a policeman, I'd be getting really irritated by now. I've done it anyway. Got there. There you go. Corner now, because the only other option the police have got, apart from arresting people, but they seem to have given up on that idea, because people just come and sit where they, unless they can do the ring round a ring, they can't do a lot about it. So the only other option they've got now is to go backwards and turn down a side road, which is Middleton Place, which is where we're going to go next. It is a bit of a standoff. Here's the plan. They'll gently push these people back now. Not by a lot though, just a step at a time. And I think the idea is that they get pushed back, or we get pushed back, to behind this road here, these 2 roads, and that gives the police a couple of options to turn left or right, and then go down those roads until they come across the next set of Extinction Rebellion rebels, who are all there already, I think. But what can you do? You've got to do something, haven't you? If you're the Greater Metropolitan Police and Sajid Javid's watching on his television and Sadiq Khan's watching on a television somewhere else because I can't imagine they're in the same room ever.
Okay. Should everyone go back to Oxford Circus then? Okay. They're going to let the boat go through. They're going to let it go through. They're going to let it go.
Well, there you go. So that's the word on the street, literally. They're going to let the boat go. And in fairness, the boat's going to go in it, let's face it. So I'll spend all night doing this, which is a good fun, but it does get cold.
The Extinction Rebels were addressed by one of the founders of the group, Dr. Gail Bradbrook, using the very effective technique of group repetition to ensure that everyone throughout the crowd was able to hear the information.
We must better have an honourable defeat on this one small battle as we win the bigger picture.
One small snag that Gail also had to point out was that no one could go anywhere immediately because Jenny, one of the protesters, was still glued to the road. After some time and some very gentle assistance by police medical experts, Jenny was liberated from the road surface and arrested.
Can we have a big round of applause for Jenny?
The police had agreed to allow the group to lead the boat on a procession towards a final symbolic stand outside the Energy Institute a few streets away, where the crowd of rebels would line the pavement as a guard of honour, allowing the convoy to pass.
So the decision is that there will be a march to the Shell Institute alongside the boat that's taken away. It's agreed to take that route, to take it away. This is the start of the procession.